In the heart of Hollywood, under the bright and shimmering lights of the television studio, a grand celebration of love and laughter was about to begin. The air was filled with excitement as the audience settled into their seats, waiting for the iconic music to start. This was the Newlyweds game, a place where couples came to test how well they truly knew each other after walking down the aisle. The announcer's voice boomed across the stage, introducing the stars of the day. First, there were Laura and Pablo Shimizu, a charming pair who had celebrated their marriage 19 months ago. Following them were Yvonne and David Mayhew, who were still basking in the glow of their ceremony, having said their vows just 1 month prior. The third couple, Ingrid and Eve Yalouz, had tied the knot 18 months ago, and finally, Heidi and Rains Jackson had exchanged their rings 15 months before this very day. As the applause echoed, the legendary host, Bob Eubanks, stepped onto the stage with a wide smile. He welcomed the couples and the audience to the show, his energy setting a joyful tone for the competition. After a brief greeting, it was time to start the game. Bob asked the ladies to head to the soundproof room so that the gentlemen could begin the first round of predictions. The stakes were high, as every correct match would bring the couples 5 points closer to a fabulous second honeymoon. Bob began with a unique and playful question involving two special guests, Victoria and Earl. He asked the husbands a hypothetical and humorous question: if they were out of the picture and their wives had to choose another lover between Victoria and Earl, who would they pick? Rains was the first to answer, stating with a bit of a sigh that his wife would definitely pick Victoria. David, on the other hand, felt confident that Yvonne would choose Earl. Pablo and Eve both agreed that their wives would certainly go with Victoria, with Eve noting there was not even a doubt in his mind. The game moved on to a more artistic territory. Bob asked the husbands to imagine a famous artist like Salvador Dali painting a portrait of their wives. He wanted to know what two different objects their wives would say the husbands suggested they hold in their hands to represent who they truly were. David predicted that Yvonne would hold a computer mouse in one hand and her keyboard in the other. Pablo imagined Laura with a romantic touch, holding a candle in one hand and a wineglass in the other. Eve shared a more practical observation, predicting Ingrid would be seen with a mirror and tweezers, perhaps ready to pluck her eyebrows. Rains concluded the round by suggesting Heidi would be holding a television remote control and a Nintendo controller, highlighting her love for gaming and her control over the TV. To finish the first round, Bob asked the men to complete a sentence about their wives' energy and drive. Pablo chose the word fast, Eve went with wild, Rains chose moody, and David decided on the word totally. With the predictions recorded on cards, it was time to bring the ladies back to the stage to see how many points would be awarded. When the couples were reunited, the atmosphere was a mix of nerves and laughter. Bob brought Victoria and Earl back out, and the wives were asked the same question about choosing another lover. Ingrid chose Victoria, matching Eve's prediction. Laura also chose Victoria, matching Pablo. However, the streaks began to break when Yvonne chose Victoria instead of Earl, much to David's surprise. Heidi also surprised Rains by choosing Earl, explaining that she simply liked men, despite Rains's assumption. The artistic question followed. Laura mentioned she would hold a book and her glasses, which did not match Pablo's romantic vision of candles and wine. Yvonne suggested grapes and Pepsi, missing David's tech-focused prediction. Heidi thought of a koala bear and a television, partially matching Rains's remote control idea. Ingrid's choice of her cat, Figaro, and a lily was quite different from Eve's prediction of a mirror and tweezers. When it came to the one-word descriptions, the matches were just as elusive. Yvonne said slow, while David had predicted totally. Heidi said wonderful, contrasting with Rains's choice of moody. Ingrid said hot, which was close but not quite the same as Eve's wild. Finally, Laura said more, while Pablo had predicted fast. As the show moved into the next phase, the points were doubled to 10 points per match. This time, the ladies were the ones making the predictions while the husbands were off stage. Bob asked the wives about a bedroom fantasy they had acted out but later realized should have stayed a fantasy. Laura shared a story about playing Prince and Princess, a game they realized they didn't quite enjoy. Ingrid described a Roman-themed evening with grapes and a leopard skin towel. Heidi revealed a bold attempt at a fantasy at Rains's workplace on a military ship, though they didn't quite finish due to the fear of being discovered. Yvonne mentioned David playing the role of a Chippendale dancer. The conversation then turned to beauty products. Bob asked which of their products the husbands secretly used. Ingrid named her special lotion, Heidi mentioned her body wash, Yvonne pointed to her hair gel, and Laura also suggested her own girl lotion. Before the final reveal, a 25-point bonus question was introduced. The wives were asked to name their husband's favorite brand of soft drink. Heidi and Yvonne both said Pepsi, Laura said Coke, and Ingrid specified Diet Pepsi. The husbands returned to the stage for the final segment. When asked about the fantasies, David mentioned Tarzan, which did not match Yvonne's Chippendale story. Rains guessed a policeman fantasy, missing Heidi's story about the ship. Eve remembered the Roman theme but forgot the leather Betty Boop outfit Ingrid mentioned. Pablo recalled being a dancer with nothing on, while Laura had remembered the prince and princess theme. In the beauty product round, Rains guessed facial cleaner, Eve guessed body wash, Pablo went with shampoo, and David chose skin lotion. None of these quite aligned with the specific products the wives had named earlier. Finally, it was time for the big bonus question that could change everything. The prize was a dream trip to Mexico, staying at a deluxe beach resort in Cabo San Lucas. David correctly guessed Pepsi, earning 25 points for him and Yvonne. Rains guessed Coke, but Heidi had said Pepsi. Eve guessed Pepsi, which was close but didn't match Ingrid's specific mention of Diet Pepsi. The final moment belonged to Pablo. When asked for his favorite soft drink, he confidently said Coke. Since Laura had also said Coke, they earned the 25 points, bringing their total to 30. Pablo and Laura Shimizu were declared the grand prize winners of the Newlyweds game. The studio erupted in cheers as the couple celebrated their upcoming trip to the white sand beaches of Mexico. Bob Eubanks thanked the couples and the audience, closing another heartwarming and hilarious episode of the show. It was a day of laughter, a few surprises, and a beautiful reminder of the joy found in the shared journey of marriage.